Hey, I'm Des.
Hey y'all, I'm Sai.
And we're the co-hosts of Let's Talk Sis podcast, where we truly believe that together empowered women can transform their lives.
Join us for heartfelt stories, enlightening conversations, and a whole lot of accountability along the way. Welcome back to yet another episode.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
I actually want to talk about a topic that we were discussing yesterday. You made a statement saying that, and don't quote me because I don't remember what you said word for word, but you made a statement basically saying that you feel like people who have families that support them don't work as hard as, I guess, people that don't.
When you say families that support them, what do you mean? Like, I don't remember.
Well, you don't remember saying that?
I don't know.
Well, from my point of view, I believe you were talking about, I don't know what you were talking about specifically. That's why I really want you to explain a little deeper to kind
What
of
were we talking about?
defend your cause. Just work as hard. Like you said, you don't feel like they have as much ambition, I guess, or drive.
Oh, people, okay, yeah, I think, like financial stability, like support.
Okay. Yeah, can you explain what you meant by that?
I mean, I feel like it's simply put, like it's really black and white. One thing about me, I am very straightforward. So what I say is what I mean. And if I said that I feel like people who have some sort of, or come from a family that provides them with some sort of financial stability, they don't have as much ambition as those that don't. That's exactly what I meant. So what part did you want me to?
That's what I just wanted you to say that, but I wanted you to dive a little deeper because I feel like I get why you're saying that or where you're coming from, but I somewhat disagree in a way. I feel like I can defend the people on the other side a little bit. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because this has been a topic my entire life that I've never spoke on. Because younger, I kind of, when I was younger.
Did that pluck a nerve for you?
Yeah, it did.
You breathing heavy over here.
It did. No, because my pants are pretty tight. I'm fighting for my life. But no, it did pluck a nerve a little bit.
How come you didn't say anything in that moment?
Because I listened and I thought about it. I'm trying not to respond as quick because I thought about it. It's just when you said something, it wasn't really a response. It was just like a, she one of them.
I am one of them.
It was one of those moments for sure. And another reason, like us even talking about this, is kind of like still growth. I love when we have our episodes. I feel like it's always growth because this is never a topic that I've ever talked about. Because I used to like kind of be embarrassed, I guess.
From what?
That, I don't know, having like my family do everything for me.
You should definitely be embarrassed.
I mean, not now. My family doesn't do everything for me now. Wait, no, definitely not now.
No.
But no, growing up, like
embarrassed about what? Hold
on,
I want to backtrack.
Embarrassed.
I think that this is going to be one of those conversations where it's going to be so much said and so much to unpack. So I want to make sure that I am hitting every point that you need me to hit throughout the conversation. Because, like, you know me, I lose my train of thought, like, really, really fast. So the first thing that you said is I feel like I could defend the people on the opposite side, right?
Yeah.
Which, just for our viewers, our listeners, Destiny and I'm not sure if y'all tuned in from episode 1, but Destiny and I come from 2 completely different backgrounds, right? And upbringing. So that's one, right? But the first thing you said, I think prior to that, and don't quote me, y'all, but was... the first thing you said prior to that was, I feel where you coming from, but I feel like I could defend the other side.
Yeah.
You will never be able to feel where I'm coming from. You could try to understand, but I don't think you will ever be able to feel where I'm coming from.
So let me correct that. I don't feel where you coming from.
Thank you.
But hold on.
No, thank you.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Because wait, what do you even mean by that? That I would never be able to feel where you're coming from?
We come from 2 different places. You could try to understand, but you will never be able to feel where I'm coming from. Like the first thing you said was, I feel where you're coming from with that, but
okay,
I feel
so
like I
defend
the opposite side.
To correct that, I can see why you would say something like that.
Yeah, that makes that. I like that. Thank you. But go continue. Give us a little insight.
No, so I get it where you coming from, but I disagree. I feel like, and I'm not saying I'm speaking for everybody because I can't speak for everybody, but from what I know is, and me personally, I think it's like kind of the opposite of what you feel.
No, I never said I felt anything.
What did you say?
I didn't say I feel anything about your perspective and your upbringing and your experience because I can't relate to it, so I can't speak
Correct.
on it from the terms of
But
feeling.
you said that you feel like we don't work as hard.
But this wasn't pertaining to something, and that was my original statement. Yes, but in accordance to your personal experience, we never had a conversation similar to this. So I would love for you to backtrack before I interrupted you and give us walk us down memory lane. That's what you were about to do, right? Like what you say in middle school or elementary school? You was
I didn't say neither. No, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but it was just like, I want to say kind of frowned upon. Because you saying we come from different places. We don't come from different places. I grew up in the hood. I lived in West Philly amongst everyone else. I had different things, but I was amongst everybody else. So we didn't really come from two different places, I want to say. But because of that,
so before you continue, I want to make sure we provide in our audience with some insight. So we come from relatively the same neighborhood,
right?
But when I'm referring to like come from, I'm talking about upbringing and experience. So I'm not talking about like demographics, logistics, like things like that.
Right.
Just for hindsight.
But my point of saying that was, since I do come from the same area, first of all, can we clear up that? Because I don't want to make it seem like I came from like silver spoon, something spectacular. Like I came from a regular middle class household, maybe low class, because middle class is probably, what's middle class?
You would know.
What's middle class?
You would know.
I think probably, wouldn't say lower class, but probably like a middle class. So I lived in I had a regular household, but I did have more than all my peers and the people around me. And because of that, I feel like growing up, especially like getting into stuff, arguments, like the only thing that everybody always said was like, basically that my mom did everything for me. Like, oh, you only got that because you're, and it's like, to look back on it, it's like, duh, that's my parent. But at the time, it was like terrible. Like, I don't want to say I was ashamed, but it was like, I felt bad for what I had and what I had access to, I guess, in a way. But to go back on topic, to say that people that come from that doesn't work as hard, I think is like kind of insane. Because I know for me personally, first of all, I think I've worked pretty hard in my time. And to also say, I remember I started the business when I was 15. And that was I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the main reasons I started the business. Just to have my own and to get stuff on my own. And to prove that I can really. And not to anybody else, but to my mom. Coming from my mom doing so much and able to do so much, I think, and this is, I can't really speak on, like you said, where other people come from, but I would think that, why do you think that people who didn't come from that work so hard? Didn't come from like, what you say, like financial stability or something?
I think that is like a psychological thing, right? I think that for the people that come from similar situations like I have, that experience kind of wires a sense of beast in you, where it's like it's based off of strictly just like survival mode. Okay. And one thing, the reason why I say that you could never feel for me is because you weren't in survival mode. Like, if you're saying that you come from a middle class household, you have not been put in survival mode. And one thing about survival mode, it's like fight or flight. And that's why you see so many people killing people and so many people, because of the sense of lack. People are going without these things, so they are doing whatever they need to do by any means necessary. And God forbid, that means killing somebody or stepping on the next person or robbing somebody, whatever the case may be. But when your livelihood and your household, especially for the men, like black men that's experiencing this or coming up in this, it's like a generational hardwiring. Like, you see your grandma struggle, right?
Yeah.
Well, not you, but like coming up, you see your, no, seriously, all jokes aside, you see your grandma have this old house that's like run down, the ceiling caving in, the furniture is years old, and she got a couple dollars trying to piece together to give you to go down to the market. Then you see that, okay, now you see your mom going through the similar thing with a baby, or a single mom that's trying to work hours, and maybe your mom wasn't even present because she needed to be at work, or vice.
I experienced that.
But you had a okay, when your mom was at work, who was you with?
My mom had to leave me for months and go work in another state.
And I love that for you.
No.
But who were you with?
My grandma.
Okay, so you have a grandma. So, for example, like, I don't want to compare struggle because that's not something I really like to do in a sense, but I feel like this is facts, right? Mm-hmm. My mom had to go work and couldn't show up, and there was no grandma, there was no aunt, there was no friend. It was me as a little girl fending for my brother and sister.
Yeah.
And that's just what the reality of it is. Don't answer the door. Don't go to the window. Don't go to the door. If you hear anybody knock or continuously knock, call me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's completely different. Like, you coming from a middle...
I didn't compare it, though. I didn't try to compare it.
No, I was speaking. Like, I'm not saying this as a rebuttal, but the reality is, like, to defend my argument, like, this is my reality. This is my experience. So, I mentioned, like, my mom having to work because she don't have no other means of income coming in if she don't go work, or not being able to come to the meetings that she need to come to, or me getting kicked out of school and not being able to be reinstated for a week because my mom can't afford to be off work or go and work late because she's scared of being fired, and if she get fired, then you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you had a grandma, and I'm happy. Like, I love that for you. I'm happy that you got to experience that. I'm happy that you had that certain level of support, or like, a backbone. Like, your family had that structure to where it's okay, if mommy not here, you got grandma. And I'm not saying that your experience was terrible or was great, because personally, I don't know.
Right.
But what I can say is, I'm sure you wanted your mom. I'm sure you this, then, a third, but I'm just happy that you had kinfolk that could step up. Yeah. It's different where I come from.
I get it.
I mean, you understand it.
I do. Mm-hmm. I understand it for sure. And your point of saying that was to say that you feel like people have, you said another, like a beast, like you have to.
For one, based off of survival mode. But the whole reason why I even brought that up was because this is a generational type of embedded that's happened. Right. So you grow up, you see your grandma going through this, then you see your mom go through this with kids. Now you got to step up, and it eliminates your childhood. So for you to say you had more amongst your peers and this and third, I'm happy that you had what an average child, I feel like, should have. As far as the nice clothes, the car, whatever the case may be, whatever you had that was more than what your peers had, that they felt as though they had an inadequate or insufficient amount in comparison to you.
I wasn't even talking about clothes or cars or anything like that. I was like saying younger than that, but
what did you have more than at your peers? At what age? Like, what? Give me an example.
I just didn't have to endure a certain struggle.
And I love that for you. I feel like you should embrace that. Like, that's cool for you.
I mean, I embrace it now, but then I didn't.
Yeah, but that's a you thing. That's a you problem.
Yeah, for sure. It is. But my point of the topic was that to say that
I still stand on it.
I get it. I get it. But what I'm saying is, to speak for those in my, I guess, position, I want to say, it's kind of like, it's definitely not the fight or flight thing, but it's like you got something to prove, kind of.
I love that for you. Or but to do y'all really?
Yes.
See, here's the thing.
Because to come from having, and to come from being able to do this, that, and the third, or not struggling or whatever, and then imagine having all that, and then becoming an adult and being a failure and have absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you was to quit your job today or tomorrow, would your mom pay your rent?
I would probably.
Let's say if you didn't have a savings, you quit your job, would your mom pay your rent? Is your mom in a financial position to pay your rent? An extra $1,700. Is your mom in a financial position to give that to you?
Yes, but I would have to go home. Like, she might pay it into my lease over. You're not getting the point.
I will never get the point. Like, I'm trying to understand, but like, for your mom to be in a financial position to give you money for another 6 months, $1,700 a month for another 6 months is a blessing. And I'm not saying that my mom isn't a blessing because she isn't able to do that, but like,
I never said it wasn't a blessing. I'm saying
that.
What I'm saying is, just because that is the case doesn't mean that we work less hard. We just got different reasons.
I'm sorry. And my perspective of what I said during our conversation yesterday still stands. And I keep saying it because I'm really like, I'm passionate about this.
Yeah.
This is my
Your
life.
Right.
And for two, this is what I have experienced and witnessed continuously.
What, people like not
people that come from healthy family dynamics. When I say healthy, I'm talking about financially being healthy, or like people that have that 2-parent household. If you come from some sort of healthy background or upbringing, or you had that around you in your adolescent years, I feel like those people do not work as hard as the people that don't. I'm standing on that. But what I can say to back up what I'm saying is, you made a point about having something to prove, right?
Yeah.
And that's completely understandable. But that's an ego-driven motive. It's a difference between having to do it because nobody else is going to do it and your back is against the wall, or I'm doing this because I got a point to prove, which is ego-driven. It's two different things. It's like comparing apples and oranges.
I mean, is disappointing your parents, is that ego-driven?
Very ego-driven. Very ego-driven. One relies on your ability to live, and one relies on
it's still on your ability to live, because
no, it's not.
It is, because who parents
are you gonna die?
Taking care of them until the day they die?
Your parents.
No. My mom is not taking care of me until the day I die. If that was the case, I wouldn't be working every day to pay my bills now.
Okay. How many times have we had a conversation and you said your nana told you, like, you might as well just come back on home. You don't got to worry about no bills.
You can go back home. Like, what do you mean?
No, I cannot.
You can go back to your mom's house. That's what go back home mean for me. Okay. Come to your mom's house or come to my house. That's not come back home and I'm going to find you somewhere to live. Okay. What's the funny part?
I'm just laughing at listening.
Like, what was your point of mentioning that? Go back home means you can't survive on your own and you need to come back home. That's what go back home means.
Okay. So my perspective is based off of my livelihood, right? And your perspective is based off of a status type of thing, right? Like ranking. And I'm not really sure what it feels like. Well, maybe
what do you mean by that? Like a status type of thing?
Like, okay, this is how I perceive my daughter. This is how I perceive my niece. This is how I perceive my granddaughter. Like, your status, ranking, and ego is like all. Like, why do we want to be winners?
No. What I'm saying.
For bragging rights.
Yeah, but no. Because what I'm saying is. But no. What I'm saying is this. Mm-hmm. The life I lived as a teenager and a kid and everything like that. The reality is, and you saying that it is the case, and although for a couple months, my mom would be able to say, okay, you got this, that, and a third, or I got you and I can help you with this, that, and a third. Mm-hmm. The reality is my mom would not be able to maintain the same life for me all over the board that I live today if I had no contribution. Okay. For the rest of my life.
So can we go back to the question? The main fact, like the main point of the matter?
Which is? What's the question?
You feel like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't work as hard. So let's get into it.
I disagree.
What's your perspective?
Okay, let me say this.
Because in order for you to disagree or agree,
I can't say that, okay, we do or don't work as hard, because I don't know how hard others work.
no, let's talk about you and I. Let's make it personal.
Okay.
No, I'm saying because to say others is to make it general, right?
Okay.
But why make it such general when it's
When it's both of us
like
here?
from two different sides of the argument, right?
Go ahead.
So why do you disagree? I feel like I've done a lot of talking thus far.
I told you I disagree because I feel like I understand what you're saying, like the fight or flight, and it's not the same case for me. But I do have something to prove. I have something to show. Yes, it's different. It's different scenarios. But that's what it is in my case.
So you feel like
Because of the life I've had and because of the parent I have and the way I grew up and the way I was maintained, it's like anything less than, if you don't do this, that, and the third, basically it's like you got the easy route. You got the easy route. I have set you up to do this, that, and the third, because that's the reality here. I've set you up to do this. I set you up to be in this position. You don't have to do this. You don't have to. You basically got a jump start. And if you don't basically work hard to maintain this, you're a failure. You're a failure.
I mean, I'm sure everybody that's on my side, if you're on team side,
oh, now it's teams.
yeah, it's teams. But if you're on
Please,
team
hold
side,
on. I wanted to give a disclaimer. My disclaimer is because I know how people be liking to tussle about this subject, and
this is a subject worth tussling.
Yeah, but I don't want to. Don't eat me up. The people that's on the side of me that understand what I'm saying, can y'all please speak up? Because I know people that be understanding. Y'all like me. Y'all don't want to fight with the wolves, but you could step up. You could say how you feel.
Because we came from survival mode?
Oh my God.
No, like wolves? Like,
no, because you said it's worth tussling over. Like, it's not.
so are you insinuating that, like,
don't do that?
No, I'm being dead serious. What you mean? I never heard that saying before.
What you mean?
Like, I've heard
you saying like the tussle. I'm not referring to no category specifically. I'm just saying like the tussle.
Anyways,
oh my gosh.
If you on team side, I could definitely agree. If you got a jump start in life and you don't 10 times that, you're definitely a failure for sure. You should feel like a failure.
Exactly. So,
but you got a jump start. You got to look at all the people who have not and what we have been able to turn nothing into something.
And I love that for you.
So for
like,
you
I
to
have so much respect for that.
For you to have something and turn it into nothing,
you're a failure.
Like, literally.
That's what I'm saying. So you got to work hard.
And the argument was never about whether or not you guys were hard workers. The argument was, do you work harder? Y'all don't.
I disagree.
But I'm asking you to share your experience. Because in order for you to disagree or agree with a statement, in order for you to disagree or agree with a statement that has some sort of comparison, you have to really defend your argument by sharing your experience or your perspective in comparison to mine.
Experience of what? Working hard?
I guess. A moment in life that you felt like you really had to.
You're trying to be funny.
You really had to, like.
You really trying to be funny. That's crazy.
Nah, I'm dead serious.
You really had to what?
This is actually a great conversation. I probably never had this because, like, I just felt like my perspective was just right. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, it was never worth having out loud because, like, I mean, we had to work harder. That's the whole point of the argument.
I think the argument is this.
You can't change what the argument is. You can't.
Because
you started it off.
The argument is this. I get, because what you just said, we had to work harder. I think the misconception, or not the misconception, but like the back and forth is that some people had to work and some people didn't, but that don't mean one is not working harder than the other.
That's exactly what that means.
No, it doesn't.
You work hard.
Just because you have to work and I don't have to work don't mean I don't still work harder than you.
You don't work harder than me. I hate to make this personal, especially on camera and on the mic, but you don't work harder than me.
At this point in my life, I probably don't.
At what point in your life are you referring to that you could have possibly? And I wasn't
put in
there.
a lot of work,
and I'm not discrediting the work that you put in. I'm sure you're a hard-working young lady, but have you worked harder than me? I doubt it.
What makes you doubt it though? Because
I wasn't present, so all of my perspective of who you were prior to us becoming friends is strictly based off of conversations that you and I have had, your upbringing.
But if any of this involves family, then it doesn't count.
What do you mean involve family?
What are you about to say about my upbringing? You said your upbringing. What does my upbringing?
No, I'm saying all the conversations we had, whether it's a collective of like all the conversations we had geared around upbringing or work or business and all the other things.
So you personally feel like you work harder than me because we had different upbringings? Moral is what you're saying.
Yes. I'm standing on it.
I disagree. I don't know. I think it's different reasonings behind it, like I said, but I disagree.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we're going to have to agree to
disagree.
Because
the reality is, when you come from a financially stable middle class, because you say I need to take pride in it. When you come from a financially stable middle class household, you got to work hard. Because it's about maintaining. Like, I don't know. Like you said, I won't ever get your point. You won't ever get my point.
I agree.
But I feel like personally, like I know personally in my life, if I've ever, for example, I've gotten to jams, I've gotten to situations where I had to phone my mom. I'm getting cursed out. She's going to help, but I'm going to get cursed out.
And I love that for you.
No, the point is that's why you got to work hard. So you don't have to do that. You can't be a failure. Like, I don't know. Like, you just,
I feel
like
bad.
I said, you got to step so you cannot fuck it up.
I understand
basically
where you're coming
it's
from.
like you got the ball. I'm passing it to you. I'm giving you the torch and you cannot fumble it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that building something out of nothing, that's a great thing. That's an amazing thing. But I'm saying that we work hard too. That's what I'm saying.
Y'all work hard. That was never the conversation. It was harder. There was a comparison that happened in the beginning of this conversation, but I respectfully, I'm going to have to agree to disagree with the comparison factor of it. I'm not trying to knock you for the hard work that you do, but this was never about working hard or not working hard. It was working harder than, like, there was a comparison that happened. So that's what I was trying to say in a nutshell. But y'all, Team Sa, we won this debate. I think in totality, it just really comes down to, I guess, just trying to understand things for what it is. And the reality of it is, I feel
so many ways, but I don't want to sound like, I don't know.
You don't want to sound like what? Oh, one thing else I wanted to add was, you just mentioned how if you got into a jam previously, you would call your mom and she would curse you out. But she would still help, right? And I love that for you. Like, when I say I love that, I'm not being sarcastic. If she can. I'm not being condescending.
If she can.
I'm not being anything. I'm just genuinely saying, like, I love that for you.
I forgot that part. If she can.
Right. Yeah. But I feel like you're on this personal journey of not being a people pleaser, right? Am I striking a nerve?
I'm listening to you. I'm waiting for what's to come next.
I really, really do hope and pray that you get delivered from this urge or sense of entitlement of people pleasing in totality. Like, I can't wait to see when you, like, completely...
What does this have to do with people pleasing? Because I feel like for you to even compare this with people pleasing is kind of why I started the episode the way I did, when I said that that's a way that I felt, like, when I felt bad about it or felt and however I felt about it kind of was because of what you explained this whole episode. Because I've always been a person, like, I was really the person that used to try to get my mom to adopt everybody because I wanted people to live the life that I lived. And it was like a guilt kind of, I think guilt is probably the way to explain it. But that's how I felt for so long. But now I don't feel that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying like I don't feel for people that, you know, had less than or whatever, but to even compare it to people pleasing, I don't feel that. Like, I feel like
what part mom, did you feel like I was comparing to people pleasing?
I don't know. Anything in this conversation to compare to people pleasing, it kind of goes to what you just said when you asked me, why are you trying so hard? You don't have to, something about the struggle you said to me. And I never once ever portrayed that I struggled or had a financially hard life.
Yeah, I never, not once you, so never not once outside of this conversation felt like that. Now, I feel like you trying to make excuses for whether you came from a financially stable or middle class like family or household. I feel like at that point it's kind of like, why? See, here's our issue, right? The people that's on my side, right? And I'm only saying my side, not technically me, but like people that come from similar upbringings like from me. Our issue with people like you is the fact that y'all don't embrace where y'all come from. Like I
do now. That's my point. Yeah, I do now.
You do now, but like in general, even when we're children, even throughout life experiences, or even when we think about going to HBCU in comparison to a PWI, it's kind of like, why do y'all have such a hard time embracing who y'all are? Like, we don't have no other choice but not to embrace who we are. Do you get what I'm saying? So it comes off to us as if like a pity or a sad story or something of that nature, when it's like, bro, this is my reality. I already accepted it because this is my reality. I have to live through it. So just embrace who
That's
you
where
are.
I am now, though. That's what I was explaining.
And I also love that for you.
But what you mean is always...
But I also want to
wait, what you mean is like a pity or something?
I feel like that's what people that come from your background or people who come from higher earning families, not even just you and where you were at in your family and stuff like that, but like even people who are wealthy, or like I went to a PWI. I went to school with a student whose dad was CEO of what is it, Pepsi Cola or Coca Cola or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's always this sense of like, oh, I'm trying to understand, or I feel where you're coming from. And I understand the intentions might be pure, but the reality is, and I think this is for any situation that you're not a part of, that you can't directly relate to, I think that it needs to just really be like, I could try to understand, but I will never understand. And that's something that you said during this conversation. And that's what I think that you should have started this whole conversation off by saying. Instead of trying
but even as a child, I never tried to get or feel what people feel or get where, like, I don't.
But you saying, oh, I tried to get my mom to adopt everybody because I want everybody to live the life that I live. Although your intentions were pure, I'm sure as a child, it's like, what? Like, how does that sound to you as an adult? Like, sitting right here.
I just said the way I feel and think now has changed from when I was a kid. So I feel like I've said that so many times.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So I'm asking you, sitting right here, live in the flesh, as a 24-year-old woman.
It was the pity, like you said.
Bingo. That's my point. So I'm speaking to different versions of you throughout your transition of where you are today. I wasn't referring to you and who you are, but I'm saying in our experience from people that come from this, we constantly have to deal with people because we're in mixed environments. Some of us are in mixed environments, and some of us have the opportunity to say we can be amongst people of different caliber, right? But the reality is some of us isn't. For example, my little brother, he's smart. His academics have really seen him through to be in some of the highest rooms, to be amongst people who are literally, it don't even got everything to do with finances. It could just literally be like that type of home, this X, Y, and Z, right? So he has been able to be amongst those people because of his academics, right? So with that being said, you go in these rooms, you go to these people's house, you be in these rooms, you go to these people's house and you see how they live in, and then you like, for example, in my brother's case, you got a friend, you think you homies, because the thing is, when you kids, you don't really see no different, right? Until different is exposed to you. So my brother has a friend, right? And it's just real black and white. You go to his house, you're not thinking nothing of it, right? That y'all playing video games, y'all eating dinner, y'all doing homework together, this and third. Then a friend come to your house, all of a sudden his family, you know what I'm saying, trying to step up and trying to oh, he can come over here whenever he wants to.
No, my life wasn't like that. My family wasn't like that.
I'm not saying you, but I'm speaking on his experience.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking about people who are financially well off farther than where your your family is.
Yeah.
So it's that I get where you trying to come from as far as trying to understand, but also I think that acceptance plays a huge role in this whole process. Because had you started the conversation off with, I will never be able to understand where you come from or where you came from, I wouldn't have been so defensive in the beginning. You get what I'm saying? As soon as you said I feel, it was like, let me take this back and let me hit every point that you said, because you would never be able to feel.
But I also feel like the way I thought and felt, even when in regards to, like you said, with pity and stuff like that, I was like I said, I was raised in a regular ass household in a regular neighborhood and everything like that. The way I maneuvered and thought and felt was based on how the people around me made me feel. People around me, a lot of peers and other people made me feel like it was a bad thing to have had what I had.
A bad thing or a different thing?
A bad thing.
In what case
if I was to ever be in any argument, the main thing people always said was silver spoon. Your mom did this, your mom did that. Like, it was a bad thing.
So did you?
If it was just different, it wouldn't have been brought to me as an insult. This was people ways in insulting me.
And why did that affect you? How did you perceive it to be? When they were saying all of this stuff, how did you perceive it? As if it was a bad thing, right? And this is why I go back to people pleasing. This is why I go back to ego. This is why I go back to all of these things, because all of this has some sort of correlation tied into it. That's like that's like me and you sitting here arguing, right? I got on dark gray and you got on light gray, and we arguing about, I don't know, who hoodies look better or who jacket tops look better. And I'm like, but I got on a dark gray. Mm-hmm. The reality is, I got on a dark gray. Now, if you perceive that to be an insult, that's on you. But I got on a dark gray hoodie.
No, that's not the same.
Yeah,
I get where you're going, but it's not the same.
It's the same, because when they said silver spoon, they did not lie.
I wouldn't say I was silver spoon, but I get you.
I think
what I'm saying is where I am now. Where I am now. Mm-hmm. What you're saying right now, I can wholeheartedly understand. Mm-hmm. And as I was growing up, between the years of getting, like, I want to say, for me, it didn't happen probably like to end of high school, college, is when I realized, like, that's not an insult. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, that's not an insult. Like, my mom, she was a parent. She did what she could with what she had. Mm-hmm.
Which was more than most people in our environment. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with it.
I didn't say it was. I don't think it is. I did think. No. I never thought it was something wrong with it. Mm-hmm. I never once thought it was something wrong with it. But it was a guilt. Like, I don't know.
But that's a you thing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand that.
So for you to say people try to make it seem like it was a bad thing. No, you thought it was a bad thing because you felt guilty. Here you are. You're technically an implant, right? So if we got poor, we all grew up in this poor neighborhood, and you got this implant right here that's not as poor as everybody else, of course you are probably going to feel different. Now, whether you embrace that different or rejected that different in a sense, that's a you problem. Right. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that goes back to my whole people pleasing argument. It was never about pity. I mean, or anything.
we know I was a people pleaser. That's the point of what I'm going through now.
But you cut me off while I was finishing that whole spill. I was basically saying I can't wait to see you on the other side of this, like, thing that you're transitioning through. I don't want to say going through, because you're conquering it, right? If you feel like you have to work in overdrive or go 10 times as hard just to prove yourself to your mom, to your teacher, mm-hmm. to your employer, to whoever it is, mm-hmm. there has to be a certain level of identity crisis. And I'm saying this because from my experience in the conversation we had prior to this about our goals aligning this and third and transitioning in the workplace, mm-hmm. my need for my attitude shift in my workplace wasn't based off of perception or who my employers perceive me to be. Mm-hmm. It's solely based off of who I perceive me to be.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
I mean, you don't have to agree. This is an open dialogue, essentially. So I can't wait to hear the people that's watching this.
I get what you're saying. Definitely with proving yourself to other people. I didn't have to, but I wanted to show. I can't even say prove my mom, because my mom really didn't care.
Like, you're literally running a competition against yourself for a title or for a sense of value or a sense of fulfillment from your mom. But in your mom's perspective, she like, that's my daughter. I'm going to love her regardless, whether she got $0 or $5 or whether she got $1 million. I'm still going to love her the same. That's my daughter. But Here you are in your mind running this race like, oh, Tasha was successful. Tasha made this. Tasha. And I'm not saying don't have those high standards. But what I'm saying is, baby girl, accept yourself for who you are, where you are today.
So do you take this whole time when I said it's like something to prove, kinda, is that how you take that? Like, I was looking at it like, oh, Tasha was this and I gotta be this?
Yes, because we have another episode where you shared this perspective. You said my grandma was successful. My grandma came from this. My mom does this. She came from this. So I just feel like it's only.
No, I didn't say they came from, because none of them came from anything good. They made stuff for themselves.
Okay, so this is all that you said,
right?
And you said that it's basically a mirror of what you.
It's the same thing I keep saying. I still feel the same way,
and I feel like that's great for you. Like, I'm genuinely like not being condescending. I'm genuinely saying like, I love that for you, and I love that you have something in front of you that's tangible to work towards. I love that for you, that you have the support. I love that for you. So we wrapping it up.
I definitely think it was people pleasing though. It's always people pleasing.
You definitely think it's people pleasing.
Everything goes back to people pleasing.
But you don't think people pleasing has anything to do relatively, like a slight chance to do with an identity crisis?
No.
Okay. Our case rests there. All right. So what's your word of advice what's your word of advice for people that's come from financially stable households?
My word of advice today will be to be proud of who you are. Be grateful for what you have. Know that you are very blessed. Your life and someone else's life may not be the same, but it's still no comparison. It's like you can't compare apples to oranges, kinda.
Wait, hold on. Kinda just reminded me, when the cameras cut, y'all, Destiny says she was kinda poor. Now, if you're listening to this and you have listened this far, please
hold on.
Comment.
I want to say, because my mom listens to this. Mom, when you listen to this, let me know.
Listen.
I'm pulling my phone out because I'm Googling.
Don't your phone mess up the mic?
Only when I'm playing the video or when you doing it. But go ahead.
If you have listened to this point, right, I really want you to head over to Instagram, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, comment. We really need y'all dialogue this episode. What does kinda poor mean? Leave the response wherever you are. Well, my word of advice,
go ahead, Miss Hardworker,
is going to be for those who didn't come from financially stable households. And it's going to be chin up, head down, and keep working. Because as soon as you look up, pew.
It's crazy. Right, you're literally the example of everybody I was speaking about growing up.
I love that for me, I guess. I'm defending those people, right?
You defending the opposite people. I love that for y'all, too.
But I also want to add a brief disclaimer that although this was a personal topic, well, I can only speak for myself, although this was a conversation that really hit home for me personally, I'm so glad that I could share this space with you and have these type of conversations without you like being offended. Are you offended?
No. Like I said, I feel like I got past this. I'm never offended for, I don't know. I feel like I'm not offended, but I feel like still on this topic, and you just kind of proved what I already thought and felt. I feel like I kind of got to walk on eggshells with this topic.
Really? Why? Because I don't
and
feel
not
like
to it. I know you don't feel like it, but not to compare, because I don't want to say nothing that's insensitive.
I mean, but if you feel like your experience is insensitive, that's your reality.
I don't want to say nothing that's insensitive, because the fact of the matter is some were able and some weren't. And I don't want to say nothing that's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not walking on eggshells. Not ever. Not this
I
episode.
know you're not.
Not this episode and not ever.
Your type of people never does.
I guess. Anyways, this was a really good conversation. I enjoyed this. Thanks for the great topic suggestion. And then y'all, hold on, I'm gonna add one more thing. Y'all know this one ate Destiny up because this was a conversation we had yesterday. She didn't respond. She didn't say nothing. I don't even remember if she responded to the comment that I made then, but I think she mentioned this. No, she didn't. I think she mentioned this as soon as she walked in the door. As soon as I said, what we talking about today? Baby girl already had her mind made up of what we was talking about. And I love that for her. I love that you was able to revisit a conversation that bothered you.
Because I wanted to, like I said, when I first started the conversation, and you did it, but I wanted you just to dive deeper into it. I feel like people who come from harder, more struggling backgrounds always feel like...
You just said harder. Bingo!
Harder backgrounds. Your background is harder. Yeah.
So we work harder.
I didn't say all that, but I'm saying it's understand it. Like you said, like when you gotta build something from nothing, you gotta work hard.
It's like a magic trick. Call us the hood magicians, cause baby, all we know how to do is turn nothing into something.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm the reason why I also said that I understand in the beginning. Or I said I felt you, whatever you said that made you jump on defense to defend it, is because I like to compare it to like my mom. My mom had a hard background. My mom struggled. My mom got it off the mud.
Well, maybe we'll bring her on for another episode.
Got something from nothing. So, and I want to also defend what I said by kinda poor. I mean, I wasn't rich.
You cleaning it up for Tasha?
What you mean?
When she hear this.
No, I don't gotta clean nothing up for her. But what I meant by that is I wasn't silver spoon. Like I watched my mom grind and hustle and make ends meet. Like it wasn't always like just easy going. I mean, I didn't have much to worry about. I was a child, but I watched her.
And I love that.
Make it that way. Like
I love that your mom was a hard worker. Easy. And the fact that your mom was
my mom was a hustler. For real.
I love that for your mom. And I love that for you. And I think that that's one of my reasons why I go so hard, so that my children can be able to reap the fruits of labor. So that's why I said whenever you felt like, well, obviously when you were younger, you felt like it was some sort of guilt associated with it. Why? Embrace who you are. And
it's crazy because I say it all the time, especially now that I am where I am now. I say it all the time, like,
where are you today?
I want...
What you mean?
Acceptance. Like, it is what it is type of thing. And I say it all the time, like, when my kids, like, it's so much that I didn't have that I can't wait to instill into my kids. Like, truly embrace, like, what you got. Like, embrace the silver spoons. Like, embrace not having lack thereof.
I love that for you. Well, y'all,
don't feel bad and don't feel guilty for what you can't control. Let's add that to my advice I said 2 minutes ago.
Love that for you. You feel like you got everything off your chest?
I guess.
I mean, I guess we out all night. It's what, 2:00 in the morning?
We don't have all night.
So, thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of Let's Talk Sis podcast.
Yes.
I'm really excited for the direction that we decided to take. I'm happy that we are showing up as ourselves authentically.
Shade.
No, I wasn't being shady.
Okay.
This was based off of what we were talking about. Remember, I posted on my story today about
I do remember, but I also remember 5 minutes ago in this same episode, you said I had an identity crisis.
No. I said that you are in the process or transitioning through people pleasing. And I think that your correlation or that little piece of guilt association based off of the perspective of others was associated with the identity crisis. That's what I said. Thank you guys for tuning into yet another episode.
Yes.
We are extremely excited. Well, let me speak for myself. I am really excited to have you guys come along with us on this journey. It's kind of like having a YouTube channel and vlog in the process. along the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we have a transparency on the mic real fast?
Sure.
Real fast. I want, because I know you just said let you speak for yourself.
I know normally I talk a lot, but damn, tonight you was going.
Yeah. Because I want to add to that and say I am really happy. I want to agree with you that I'm really happy that we get to show up, because the thing of overcoming people pleasing is what I just said 5 minutes ago when I said I feel like I was walking on eggshells.
You said you still feel like that.
Yeah, I said that 5 minutes ago though. When I said I felt like I was walking on eggshells, and I do still feel like that sometimes. But I feel like, and this is I'm acknowledging this right now, that is a major part of people pleasing, because it's like I'm always worried about hurting somebody's feelings or, the response I'm gonna get. So I'm happy y'all get to watch this transformation, this journey. Because even watching back to the beginning of the episodes when I was in so denial of even being a people pleaser. So to get to the point of admitting it. Yeah, you over the conversation. It's cool, but I'm happy y'all get to witness my growth. I'm proud of me.
Yeah, so y'all don't forget to head over to www.dearsisterletstalk.com and grab your merchandise, y'all. We're almost sold out of personal organizers for 2024, and it's not too late to get yours.
Make sure you use code DSPOD to save some money too, though.
Yes, if you like saving money, use the promo code DSPOD. Get your merchandise, and we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video on YouTube. Give us a rating on
Please give us a rating.
Audible episodes.
If y'all give us a rating, we're going to follow y'all back.
Well, when you leave when you leave your rating, I guess leave your @name as well, because it's not the same platform. You cannot follow anybody back on the Audible podcast platform. But yeah, leave your ratings.
No, but seriously, y'all,
comment.
Please leave us ratings.
Give us
like
opinions.
She said. Yeah,
I really want to know how y'all feel though. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast, Let's Talk Sis, with Des and Sai.
Stay connected by following us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget, use hashtag DearSisterLet'sTalk to find us.
Wait, before you go, head over to our website or our Instagram and join our interactive community for a daily dose of sisterhood, where like-minded women fellowship, encourage, and create a safe space amongst one another.
See you inside, sis.
Toodles.
Bye.